There are many social issues which are prevalent in the society, issues which affect different races, ethnicities, social backgrounds, and income levels. When selecting a topic for the Activism in Art project, one rose to the forefront of my mind: homelessness. It's one I had a brief experience with as a child, as we couch surfed, slept overnight in our car, and ended up in a shelter for a short time. I was able to get a small window into the life of the homeless. Homelessness is routinely depicted in art through photographs, a place where activism and art collide, bringing awareness to an issue which plagues many. Through these snapshots, onlookers get a glimpse into the world of those they see every day. One cannot escape the unhoused, whether it be during one's commute to work, school, a quick stop at the store, near major traffic intersections, or highway off-ramps. You'll find the homeless. Though readily visible, they are frequently overlooked as people pass them by. There are multiple factors and theories as to why one might find themselves in this predicament, ranging from loss of wages, disability, mental and physical illnesses, substance abuse, fleeing unsafe environments, and lack of support. Regardless of the reason one might end up homeless, it's important to note that homelessness affects the entire population, whether directly or indirectly. Admittedly, there are no clear resolutions to this multifaceted issue which affects many in the community. The issue is not simply where people will live, it also centers on how they will be supported. According to Denver 7, multiple safe outdoor spaces have been erected through partnerships with local organizations and churches, such as the Park Hill United Methodist Church, Denver Community Church, and Colorado Village Collaborative. In addition, the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless have fabricated stable transitioning housing units. Per Cole Chandler, the co-founder and executive director of Colorado Village Collaborative, Colorado shelters are not working due to their restrictive rules, which include curfews, ban on pets, and COVID-19 transmission in close indoor facilities. Chandler argues that people do want to come in from the outdoors, but they want to do so on their own terms. He says that the current shelter model does not work. It's not a feasible option for current populations. On the other hand, local citizens like 6-year-old everyday hero Lillian Benedict are getting involved. After seeing the unhoused in her area, Benedict decided to partner with the Graceful Cafe in Littleton, selling her watercolor artistic creations to benefit the homeless. In February, the Peter Young's Art Gallery at Northeastern Junior College hosted an Invisible People exhibit which showcased black and white photos of various unhoused subjects, hoping to raise awareness to the issue. While searching the topic of homelessness, many touching images seeking to capture the life, struggle, and desperation of its subjects came into view. However, one seemed to leap off the page, showcasing resilience rather than despair. The work of artist Brian Peterson draws the viewer in using vibrant colors and inspiring stories. He provides a nonverbal narration of each character, successfully capturing the subject in a dignified and beautiful depiction. Through his work, he reminds his audiences that the homeless are people who feel, think, love, and have hopes and dreams. According to the artist, these individuals often feel as if they are invisible and unimportant. By using his skills to paint the unhoused, who he refers to as his neighbors, he allows them to feel seen. Through his nonprofit organization, Faces of Santa Ana, which he describes as a culmination of his love for art, his community, and Jesus, he is able to donate 50% of proceeds to the subject through a love account. This account is used to assist the subject in meeting their perceived needs, such as clothing, transportation, temporary housing, and assisting them in their pursuits of their hopes or dreams. Peterson's love of art began when he was in the 4th grade and culminated in 2009 with his degree in industrial design from the Cleveland Institute of Art. Though he stopped painting after his first year of college and switched from a fine arts degree to an industrial degree. The activist and artist credits two pivotal events which charted his current course. The first was his reading the book Love Does by Bob Goff and being challenged by the writer to take action, be present, and help others. This call to action resonated deeply with Peterson, though he had no idea where this would inevitably lead. 2 years after graduation, Peterson built an 8-foot canvas but never painted on it. Years later, he had an experience with a local minister who spoke of identifying and addressing the elephant in the room, those things in one's life that need to be addressed but are often shied away from. Embers of art began to ignite in Peterson. That night, he created his first painting in 8 years on the once dormant canvas, an elephant, serving as a reminder to always address the elephant in the room. In 2015, after taking a job with Kia and moving his wife to Santa Ana, California, he became keenly aware of the large homeless population in his immediate vicinity, finding it and them impossible to ignore, especially after hearing the cries which rang out night after night, finding their way into his home. Finally, one night, after hearing the familiar cries of his displaced neighbors, he felt compelled to venture out to speak to the man, a simple introduction. After the conversation ensued, he asked the man if he could paint his picture, and the man agreed. Peterson began constructing a piece which was meant to cast the subject in a more favorable light, reflecting the forgotten beauty hidden in his smile and portray the way the creator sees him. Thus, the Faces of Santa Ana project was born. Since the inception of Faces of Santa Ana in 2015, there has been a spin-off sister project, Homelessness, created by Mrs. Vanessa Peterson in 2018, which attempts to improve upon the living spaces of the homeless, providing a warm environment to previously drab surroundings. Mr. Peterson's other artistic works include a private collection inspired by his faith in God, animals, and nature, his personal commissions, and large-scale murals. His private collections are available for purchase online through various websites, and his murals can be seen all over California on the site of housing projects, shelters, schools, community centers, rescue centers, missions, and playgrounds, and more. Peterson hopes to change the lens by which people see their neighbors. Through his canvas, they're reminded that they are loved and receive hope anew. Inspired by Peterson's work both on and off the canvas, I set out on a venture of my own to have a personal interaction with one of my unhoused neighbors. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak to John Doe, an extremely polite and mannerable 20-something-year-old African-American male native to Colorado. John stated that he was down on his luck and caught in the middle of attaining proper identification needed to solidify housing. Mr. Doe approached me seeking only a warm meal. As we entered the nearby establishment and waited for our food to be prepared, we chatted. He explained to me that where he stood, no one would speak to him. They shunned him away, assuming he was asking for cash. I assured him that it was my pleasure to help, and as we prepared to part ways, I asked if I could take his picture for the project. I assured him that my assistance was in no way contingent upon his agreeing to take the picture, but he agreed anyway. Like Peterson, working from a photograph, I attempted to capture the subject's likeness with my favorite media, graphite pencils, adding splashes of color to add interest borrowed from the subject hoodie. The one thing I couldn't quite capture was his resilience, his ability to remain kind, friendly, and hopeful through unimaginable difficulty. Peterson is not attempting to end homelessness. He is trying to make connections, venturing beyond his comfort zone, forming relationships with those in his community, and advocating for others to offer their gifts and service as well. It's a powerful thing to empathize with another, returning to them a portion of their humanity, which circumstances have sought to taint or destroy. Obviously, one person cannot end homelessness or poverty. Nevertheless, each of us can make a difference by banding together, volunteering time and skills, resources to serve the underserved in whatever capacity and with whatever means we have at our disposal, using our gifts and talents as catalysts, drawing attention to the issue and perhaps transforming someone's life.